Okay, it's going. So I was talking about like how Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark Iron Man. Well, the acting part, perhaps it's Stan Lee. I'm not entirely sure who actually owns Iron Man, Tony Stark. But from what I understand, Robert Downey. Robert Downey Jr. has done an excellent job, and I hope he does expand himself acting wise. Like for instance with the Judge, I haven't watched. I watched a good portion of the Judge, like three-fourths of the Judge. Didn't finish. Um, I think it's just in terms of availability. It almost seemed like it was swelling. It was like the movie swelled, the tension swelled. It was like always in the air to pop. And so, uh, Robert Downey Jr. is a great actor. It's just, yeah, definitely. I will like, cause I'm pretty sure he'll definitely get tired of, and I'm pretty sure many people get tired of it. Just being stuck in one role, one position, one likeness in terms of their acting. They want to diversify. But yeah, I just think to myself, man, he just he acted his butt off. He was doing pretty good. He showed a range of emotions, and Iron Man, the first one, he just kind of he was high and he was low. It kind of was like the successful version of what Thor was attempting, But it was kind of strange because it was like the style of the Thor movie was like it was like an older style, like that comic booky type of style where it's like there's one moral lesson and it's very rich in morals, and then he like learns his triumphant morals. Like for instance, it could have been a cartoon like a Wreck-It Ralph kind of thing, like it would have been a good Wreck-It Ralph type movie because that was like a parent. Oh, here you are, and here's where you'll be, and you know who the character affirms themselves to be in the beginning will be tested, and later on he will affirm that in the end, like, and it'll be something positive typically, you know um and like, but in the Iron Man movies, he was good. I liked him. He didn't sit around and he showed a range of emotions. I wasn't too like crazy about Iron Man 2, but Iron Man 1 and 3 were great and just darn excellent. Iron Man 3, where he was just trying to understand, like just kind of after his vision about seeing his friends just kind of down and stuff, he was just kind of like he had paranoia. And the big reason why that was good is because like when we go through terrible great events like that, it doesn't leave us. I thought that was a very human moment. And again, that built for me a character loyalty to the person that is Iron Man, and also the person that is Robert Downey Jr. I mean, an attachment and via association. I mean, because he played the person, and so I was like, I was so attached, and like even though he kind of like he was a little harsh at times in Iron Man 3, it was like it showed, and even then that was kind of like jumpy. I still like attached myself to this person because it was like, well, not to the person, but to the person's progression in terms of how they moved. And I was like, with this newest movie, and again, I'm putting too high of a standard on her. This the character Debris Lawson plays as in what movie? I'm so sorry. It's Captain Marvel. I'm sorry. Um, and so here I'm thinking to myself like, who is she? And I've heard about her like from this comic series. I can't remember what it's called. Is it Avengers Assemble or something like that, where it shows all the characters, most of the characters, and she's said to be one of the strongest people ever. She's said to be um just potentially just as strong as Superman, and and I just recently read about her being very like almost borderline a Superman knockoff. Before, and she's plenty of reboots alive, keeping the IP just like is weird, but I guess ironically, because isn't I don't know. I don't get it. They said mention some word Shazam, and that was associated with that. I don't know. I really don't know. I guess But I guess find that Shazam. I guess he has some sort of tie to it, and it's kind of ironic because the Shazam movie is coming out, real soon, especially in conjunction with with Brie Larson's Cat Marvel movie. So I'm like, I don't know the big controversy, legal battle, licensing deal attached to it, but it seemed kind of fishy when I read the article about it. Um, but yeah, there's like a plethora of a plethora of opinions regarding it, and it's just kind of strange to me. Um, it's real strange. Like for instance, they saying, oh, again, and I got try my best to keep. I try to keep out of universe issues out and leave. And I guess I did it particularly for this one because I didn't want to sell it short because of whatever happened, whatever occurred out of universe, out of the MCU. I wanted to be like, okay, if I'm not gonna criticize this body of work because of what the did out of universe. If the actress, what she did in the universe in the MCU was good, then I'm gonna credit the work for what it is. Let it be good. And I can give an opinion about that, but I'll hopefully do that later. I can't say for certain. Um, but yeah, like she was great. She was witty. She definitely make a comic book, a Marvel superhero. She'd make like a good one. She, I mean, she is basically, but I feel like if you gave her a standard, she'd be like just just a Marvel superhero, just like the rest of them. You know, and the thing is, you could say Spider Man, baby, he's new. I'm like, not really. He's had plenty of movies where I recognize the character of Spider Man. Now this new version, this I guess the intellectually IP. Did they rent out his IP, his intellectual property? I don't know. For some sort of reason, Marvel has Spider Man at the moment. Civil War. I mean, in the Civil War movie. I don't know much about the legal stuff, but hey, that's great. He's here, you know. Um, and so Spider Man is in, But it's like again, I'm well acquainted with Spider Man, so I like even with Andrew Garfield Spider Man, or Tobey Maguire Spider Man, like I'm already well acquainted with the character. So to have him in the Avengers is cool, it's dope. It's almost like what don't Fox own Fantastic Four? And I'm like, the reboot was so it was so full of complaints for me because it was just like the characters were young and whiny, and I hate it whenever you have these, like, no matter who they are, when they have these superhero heroes with these powers and they flex these powers over people. Um, and another thing that made me like, I'm like, aren't you supposed to be average Joes? I don't know. Aren't you supposed to be? That's one reason why I like the regular ones. I mean, the first one was because they were trying to deal with being super celebrities because they were regular people. They were still firstly regular people. It was like the criticism toward Superman, where he was a regular person. He just got affected by something that made him a superhero. But I guess it was just Superman realizing he was Superman. But before that, he was a regular old guy. He was a regular old guy, cultured in earthen practices and customs. In the same way, but no, these kids were just flexing. They were angry. They were just like, you're gonna do what we tell you to do. And to me, I hate that kind of arrogance. Because it's just like, if that's the case, you might as well be a tyrant with your newfound powers. You might as well play a Doctor Doom. You know. So, I'm like, you're not really all that different from like people, like just the villains. And so, with the new Marvel movie, Captain Marvel, she didn't come across as that. At times, there were times where she did, where she was just flaunting her powers, and in a sense, I would have liked that like she beat him with her own merit, but at the like her own fighting merit. But she understands that who she is who she is, and that she's not going to conform to people's standards of who she is or who she should be. And I like near the end where it actually showed her to be like, you know, I'm a determined, tenacious human being, and that is who my identity is. I am Carol Danvers. I'm not Verse. You know, I'm Carol Danvers, and I am a human being. With these powers, but I'm still a human being. You know, I'm not the person who you thought I was. I'm not a Kree. I'm a human being with tenacity. And it's like the Kree, they try to, I guess, again, they're like these supremacists. So they're like, whatever they come in contact with, they're like trying to make it in their likeness, and they're trying to make it better than what is perceived to be. And so for her, she's like, I may have failed, but I'm gonna keep getting back up and getting better. And I thought that was great. That was great because I guess for me, to be honest, and I guess when I say I'm trying to keep everything out of the universe, I try my best to, and I'm glad they had a very neutral resolution, because I was like, I was gonna potentially give an eye roll, because I'm like, if she say like I'm a strong woman, then I'm gonna be I'd be a little irritated, because um I mean, I guess ironically, they kind of already proved that in her previous life. Her life where she was just a human. She was a tenacious woman, and she did her best to work the system. It reminds me of Hidden Figures, where these women, they worked the system. They were tenacious. They reached for any opportunity they got. It kind of reminds me also of Judge Judy, where when the people, they say like, the problem is so and so, or like the patriarchy or whatever. I don't know if it was that, but I want to say it was something along those lines. And then Judge Judy was like, "What? What? I don't know what you're talking about. I worked to get where I'm at." And I was like, I like that too, because she gave her own merit. She didn't let anyone stop her from being where she wanted to be. And again, I'm not saying that the patriarchy ain't real or whatever. I don't know. I don't, in the same way I say maybe racism ain't real, but at the same time there were preferences and facets that were more preference toward a particular people and group, and less preference toward the rest. And that people, if they wanted to succeed, they had to be tenacious. They had to be hungry for the opportunity. They had to perhaps cut corners. And I don't want to say that in a bad way. I'm just saying that based off the hand they got, they had to be ingenious, practice ingenuity. They had to work with the hands they got and play them the best they could. And like, I think that's great. That shows Brie Larson, or Carl Danvers, and uh, uh, Monica Rambeau, which is surprising that I learned this in the articles, that she used to be a Captain Marvel. She used to be a Captain Marvel, from what I understand. But then she switched it over. She handed Dorch someone else or something like that. But I was just so shocked. I'm like, oh wow, that's a cute homage. That's pretty nice, pretty cool. I don't even know. I don't know about the kid. Maybe the kid. I don't know. She had a child, so I don't know nothing about that. But I thought that was a very adorable nod to, like, hey, this is the lady before, and we're right alongside each other. We're best friends, actually. I don't know if that's in the universe. I just thought that was a very great homage to it. Um, but again, I say all this stuff because I don't know fully what Cap Marvel is. But I say this just like, okay, this is who they are. This is who they project themselves to be. Um, cool, great. Um, again, another thing was just coming into understanding that she was, from as far as we know with the movie, she herself was an alien coming to, was it C-53, which is the code for Earth, I guess it was Earth. She was at Earth, and I get it. She doesn't know the customs. She's gonna use her stuff. Another thing was that, like, she was just like, she was still impulsive, even though she was told not to be impulsive. And so it was weird for me, because it was like she didn't really, it's not even, it's like you're under your superiors, and I get it. Like, it's just the human in her, right? It's the human in her to be impulsive. But I guess based off her history, even in the past, said she was emotional and impulsive and stuff like that. And so I don't understand the connection because the Kree is supposed to be wholesale. It's a species of society, like a supremacist society. So it's like they try to have everything perfectionized. Per, I guess that's the right word, perfectionized. And so that includes the vices of humanity. And so to be told, hey, it was the weirdest part because it was like she was up there in age. I mean, I guess I don't know how long it's been spanning over her, but she's been up there in age. She's been told she needs to stop doing this. She doesn't really have a conflict of her humanity versus her Cree um, ethnicity, or nationality. She just doesn't. She doesn't have that. She's there. She kind of seems like she was hot from the gate. She used to be human. Now she's a Cree, and she, despite being like a someone who's been like socialized to be a Cree, she's just kind of like herself. She's not someone who once had another life somewhere. She's just kind of there. She's just like an adopted immigrant of sorts. I'm here, and she attaches to the people so well, the Cree people so well, and to me that's strange too because it's like, um, where's the conflict? You're not Cree. Apparently your skin is not blue. Your blood is blue. But and that's something that I've had a question about too. Like, is she Cree? Is she not Cree? Um, if her blood is blue, okay, she must be Cree. Is the guy Cree? Is he not? And he said he came from his blood. Her blood, the blue blood that runs through her veins, is actually his now. So is he Cree, or is he adopted from some sort of humanoid planet? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. You know, um, and I don't know. I really don't know. There's not really a lot of like transition. There's not a transition from her newer life to her older life, which is, there's just not a lot of transition there. There's not even a lot. There's just her being her and her staying her and her just kind of picking up information along the way. And for me, it's just kind of like that's one of my issues. Why? I mean, I guess, and I tried my best. I was really hoping, like, I hope this isn't going to be one of those logic doesn't matter and a political agenda or a political stance is what matters in this movie. I was trying my best not to, like, just hoping that wouldn't be the stance. And ultimately, 90 95% of the movie, it wasn't that. That 5% kind of was. It kind of echoed and peeped its way through at times. Like, for instance, when they were on the base, on the shield base, and, Nick Fury didn't have any clearance. He wasn't top dog. And he finagled his way, used some forensic skills, and got his way in. And then the next thing, he was like trying to fumble to make this work, and she opens it like, phew, like. And to me, I was just thinking to myself, like, she doesn't. I don't get why they say like you are too emotional, you don't have control over your powers, we control your powers. But throughout the movie, from what I can tell, she didn't have any struggle, any trouble with her powers. The only time was like when the plot dictated it, where she actually came into contact with the Kree Brethren and realizes that the Kree Brethren actually lying to her. They aren't actually the good guys. They're actually hunting down the Skrulls. And I'm sorry, it's gonna be a bunch of spoilers. Um, but yeah, it was just kind of strange to me. Like she didn't, she seemed like she had full control of her powers, but then now, oh, what can be given can be taken away. So I'm like, is this her powers or is it not? Because I thought this was okay. They gave her powers. Then I realized, oh, the powers aren't actually hers. I mean, the powers are actually hers, and they're just being regulated. They're being controlled. And this kind of reminds me of it kind of reminded me of Dot Hack Sign, where the kid had data dream. It was like a gift given to him, and like he was supposed to keep it a secret, but then when he finally told someone, it was taken away from him. That's just what I got out of it. I could be wrong. But I don't know. I didn't get that. I really didn't get that. I'm like, um, and then I get it, like where she had to actually move around. And again, it came to me. It seemed like it was setting this up. They were like, okay, you need to hide somewhere, and just stay put. And she was like, well, I can't do that. And I was just like, uh, I really wouldn't even know what to do. I'm like, you're like basically a superior species on this earth, and it's kind of funny when she was like, one of the Kree was like, okay, what do you think about Earth or C-53 or something like that? She's like, it's a, she says a crabby place. Like I'm basically substituting it, but she says is a crabby place. It's a shithole. That's what she actually said, and I was like, dang. But again, I find it kind of funny because it was like from their Cree intelligence, like their Cree perspective, everything's advanced. So yes, what is it, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, their neck of the woods, yes, by comparison, it is a dumpster heap, a dumpster fire of a place to be in. So I'm like, okay, that makes perfect sense. But back to Cat Marvel. She is a higher life form. Regardless if she's impulsive or not, she's been trained to hunt the Kree down and infiltrate. You see that in the beginning of the movie. She infiltrates. So someone who does that, who's even though she's impulsive, you'd think she'd be like, I'm on a strange planet. I'm on this planet. And how did she even get there? She's ironically there. But you'd think someone who's there, and again, also I find it funny that the nod, because I knew it when I watched it. They was like, she was like, how can I get some communications tech? I was like, well, because Blockbuster's here, the main hub for good communications is Radio Shack. Even though Radio Shack went bankrupt, I was like, I immediately said Radio Shack, and then what do we see? Radio Shack. I was like, that's a cute nod to it because again, great HUD for communication. I don't know if it was in that time, but I knew back in the day, Radio Shack, you've seen them everywhere. That was a big hub for electronics and stuff. Before it was, I mean, maybe Best Buy was nearby them, but it was Radio Shack, Radio Shack, Radio Shack. So yeah, um, but yeah, I just kind of wish she stopped being so like. I kind of wish in the story she wasn't so like, yeah, I have these powers, and again, it's a good nod, but it's like she has powers. She could kill anyone she wants, and to me, it's like, it's as if One Punch Man. It's almost like the Superman thing. Superman, if he wasn't cultured, if he was like Genocide, and if Genocide actually came and there was no Superman, it would basically be similar to like Raditz and like from Dragon Ball Z and Nappa and Vegeta coming to Earth. They could kill anyone. They could wipe out the human race as we know it. So again, if Brie Larson, I mean, I'm sorry, I keep in universe. If Cap Marvel or Marvel was like a person who was like, I'm, I'm kind of sick of this. I'm gonna kill everything. She could. So for me, I'm like, given that you need, it would be nice if she had a little more mindfulness of the people she was around. So she was like, okay, you know, but she kind of again like she kind of has this shonen aspect like from an anime like this female, and it's kind of funny, but it's like it was almost like and I've only watched this a little bit like a Haruhi, like the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that name like real talk, real time. Um, but it seemed like that, where she was a female shonen protagonist, and she was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do." And like, yes, shonen characters are impulsive. Shonen characters, but it's like shonen characters are defined not only by their impulsivity, but their mere sheer incompetence. They're not smart. They're like they run headfirst into danger and they make very dumb decisions. and she doesn't really get that penalty. It's weird. It's like her actions don't come with consequences. She just kind of like, for instance, when they get inside the base and she blasts the hole through the second door as Nick was trying to open it up. It was kind of strange to me because I'm like, you're in a place. You're not only at home. I mean, far from home, far from home, far from base. You're at this place, this foreign planet, and you're just blasting things like that's regular, like it's regular for you, but as you said, like you, from what I could tell, if you're in a place that's not your own and everything looks very antique, like there wasn't even like, I mean, she checks the blockbuster videos, the VHS tapes, but it's like she doesn't look at the downgrade in technology, the technological standards, and say this place is awful. As she says, this place is a shithole. I'm not. Maybe I should take some prudence in how I interact here and the people thereof. Like the things I have here could light 20 of these places, cities, for a matter of days or decades or whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying. Like her by comparison, her technology is extremely advanced. So considering this, it, and again, she doesn't really make this judgment call, this decision. She just kind of just acts brash a little. And again, I guess it was weird, when she punched that hole through, like, and again, it's like, I guess out of universe, if people know Fury, they know he's a smart and tactical person. Even if this is young Fury, he's still kind of like, have backup plans on backup plans, and he can still kind of lie to your face, from what I understand. But it's like, okay, so he kind of like, hey, that's cool, and then does some texting, and it's like, okay, actually, ladies here, So, I don't know. Is she acts like a human being all the time? She doesn't really adjust like how she interacts with people. She's just kind of like a shonen character. I would say shojo character, but she's not. She's just not the typical shonen shojo character, which is the young female character in anime. She's a very young shonen character, a very young boy character. And I don't mean to say that in a negative sense. I mean to say that just in terms of character, she really is a shonen character. Um, um, it's strange because I haven't seen it before, but I'm not really complaining because I saw a good character that was just as great as her, uh, if not comparatively better. And Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was very good. Like she she showed femininity, but she didn't show it where she was like uber delicate. She was like, I know who I am. I know what I've become. I can do stuff. I have the capability to do stuff. And so, can they do they call her Mary Sue? I think so, but this is her first debut. This is a debut movie, and sucks. But DC movies are not. They just haven't had the trend of doing good. Good. But I thought that was good. It was great because she interacted with her environment. You know, she kind of showed the clash of her standards in Themyscira versus the standards in what 1920s, 30s, or something like that, America, where the standards for women weren't very high. And she was like, "Well, don't you guys do different things? Don't you guys, you know?" And then she just kind of compares her standards, like, well, secretaries are slaves from what in my culture, and I think she did very extremely well. Um, Cat Marvel doesn't do it. Brie Larson's Cat Marvel doesn't compare. She doesn't do anything. I mean, she doesn't do any comparative um, narrating, discussing. She doesn't do a lot of that. Um, she kind of remains the same character throughout. Um, she, whenever things need to be capable, she's capable. She doesn't struggle. She's witty. She's a Marvel character. She's a Marvel hero. Um, and I say that to both to her benefit and her detriment because she doesn't really do any growth. She's a static Marvel hero. And again, I guess if we want to say if you wanted a Marvel character who's a female, and that's all you wanted, you have this movie. Perfect example of a Marvel hero who happens to be a female. But if you were looking for a hero who can grow, who's someone you can connect with, she may not be a perfect match at this moment. At this moment in time, that's all I can tell you. Just not. Um, Again, if you're looking for like that person, oh yeah, I want a Marvel hero. You know, I want someone that I want to root for and stuff like that. You could have her, but if you look at Outer Universe, she's strong. She's very strong. But if you wanted to see someone like again, and if you wanted to be like, yeah, I want that woman to fight. If you look out at universe and say, I want a strong female hero, Wonder Woman will probably be a better bet where people will root for. Where people, and again, I wouldn't consider her Mary Sue, but I'd be like, with this Brie Larson, she slides a little bit closer to there. But again, if you know about Captain Marvel, she got strength like that, so it's like okay, but it's like to have a person with ups and downs and not just I don't know who I am, but I get by anyway. You know, like not having your identity doesn't cripple you. You know, it seemed like she was brainwashed, and she didn't mind. Like she didn't mind her new life. Her old life was just kind of bothering her, kind of nagging at her now and then, every now and then. But she didn't seem too bothered by it. You know, she just kind of reached out for when it was convenient. And that's what happened. The dialogue kind of dragged her to understand more about herself. She didn't really take that pursuit to do that. So I definitely give it an 8. If I give it a 9, that's a big possibility. But I definitely grant that an 8 or 8.5 because it was a good movie. It was a good movie. I don't care about the other stuff that she did out of the universe where she was targeting what she said she didn't want too many cis white males. Personally, I don't care about that, and I guess partly because it has nothing to do with me as a black male. But I can see how that could, which is to me kind of strange because again, my biggest issue is that forced diversity doesn't help anybody. Forced diversity, and also diversity without good acting is poor too. That's just a poor choice. You know, that's just throwing in black guy because he's black, not because he actually matters, not because he actually have any competence, importance to the story. He's just there because he's black, and it's like he has poor acting, poor dialogue. He eats burgers and Doritos or whatever. He's just kind of there, you know. And I don't think that's a very good representation of black people. That's just not. It can't be, you know. Would be good is that he actually has some importance. He's not shoved in there. He actually matters. He's smart. He's competent. He can be witty when he needs to be if he's that type of person. But yeah, to make them an individual and a full fleshed individual. But maybe that won't happen with the filmmakers we have. I couldn't tell you. But I do find that Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty good. You know, Zoe Saldana, I think that's her name, as Gamora. Pretty decent character. Pretty decent character in universe. That's another thing. Like, that's a good character in universe. You know, she has this resentment for works for being Thanos' daughter. You see a very strong connection between her and Thanos in the Infinity War. That's a person I think is great in universe. She's not a typical Marvel hero. She's a person with a past, with baggage, with problems, with things that she's dealing with. She has this burden over her shoulders. She's not just a love interest. She's her own person. To me, I think so. I could be wrong, but I think from based off that, she's her own person. And I feel like with she has far more balance as an individual and far more stock as a character than sadly Captain Marvel's personality. It just seems too static. There's not much movement jumping around, and that's okay. That's okay. This is the first movie. Let's hopefully get a better one. Hopefully, and I'm like again, this is gonna be the poorest time. This is gonna be like the Last Jedi type stuff because this is the climax, and that's why I feel kind of like I don't think this is gonna go good. I don't, because this is the climax. and they throw in a random person who's very strong, who's a very heavy method. Unless she's fighting off people very just as strong as her, who's new, just as new as her, which I doubt, is Thanos. Who knows what he's doing with the stones? Who knows what he's doing? But it's like since she's very strong, he's very strong. Doesn't make any sense why they shouldn't battle. Doesn't make any sense why she should handle the gritty work. But it's like she's not established. She's not an established character. I barely know her. If she takes the win, it's gonna leave a bad taste. And I'm pretty sure feminists are gonna be like, we love this movie because it was Cat Marvel who beat the bad guy, the biggest bad guy. And it was like one of the things they're lacking is that the audience knows nothing about her. We only have one movie about her. That's one reason why I'm glad they had Ant-Man and the Wasp, where I know a little bit more. Even though that one was kind of a train wreck, kind of, to me it was, but it was like, and I still know a bit more about her in a movie in the in between, and even then it's just like, oh, okay, he didn't really wedge himself like well in there, but again, he was in a place where not a lot was going on. The problems ended, and then he kind of just got put in there for potentially filler. Like, it's sad to say, but he's kind of a filler character to me. Even from what I heard in the comics, he's not. So yeah, that's all I got. 36 minutes, man. Gosh. Um, it sucks, but Endgame doesn't seem like it's gonna be a good one. There has to be like a part one, part two, maybe. But I just can't see any decency happening. Uh, this is a good first movie. If we're counting people who are the first, or rather the most relevant current female-led actress, then I say great. She's doing a great job. She's a great Marvel villain. I'm so sorry. A great Marvel hero. But apart from that, she doesn't. Let's just hope she moves. She has those up and downs. She has that hero's journey of sorts. Um, let's hope so.